On the 22nd of March, 2025, the Pentagon dropped a bombshell that showcased just how formidable American naval capabilities truly are. The USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group had been running standard training exercises alongside South Korean and Japanese naval units in waters off the Korean peninsula when urgent deployment orders came through. In a matter of hours, this colossal floating fortress housing more than 7,500 sailors and airmen was cutting through Pacific waters at full speed, headed straight for the Middle East. What left defense analysts around the globe absolutely stunned was this. The Carl Vinson, together with its accompanying warships, was scheduled to traverse thousands upon thousands of miles of open ocean and reach the Middle East within a mere 2 to 3 weeks. We're talking about a 97,000-ton nuclear-powered supercarrier, flanked by destroyers, cruisers, and logistics vessels, all moving together as a single coordinated strike force across the planet faster than the average person's daily commute. This goes far beyond just one vessel's capabilities. The United States Navy operates a system so sophisticated that it can deploy 6 full carrier strike groups to any location on the planet in only 30 days. Each one of these maritime juggernauts carries enough aerial combat power to match the entire air force of many nations. When Rear Admiral Paul Lanzillotta was leading the Gerald R. Ford Strike Group in 2025, he delivered a statement that had military experts shaking their heads in disbelief. In a single day, we can reposition this entire strike group over 700 miles. Right now, we're going to explore the remarkable speed and tactical precision behind America's carrier strike group movements. You're about to find out exactly how the planet's most dominant naval force can extend its reach to any corner of the Earth, moving faster than most would ever imagine. The capacity to swiftly move aircraft carrier strike groups across the globe stands as one of the most crucial strategic assets America possesses. These aren't merely vessels floating on water. They're self-contained military powerhouses capable of dominating airspace, executing combat missions, and delivering disaster relief wherever circumstances demand. America's lightning-fast deployment prowess stems from an operational framework known as the Fleet Response Plan. This goes way beyond military terminology. It's an intricately synchronized system maintaining our naval forces at a perpetual level of preparedness that would leave rival nations absolutely green with envy. Let me break down the mechanics, and these figures are going to blow your mind. Right this second, the U.S. Navy operates under what they term a 3+3+1 configuration. 3 carrier strike groups are out there actively operating in international waters. 3 additional groups stand prepared to ship out within 30 days once they get the green light. 1 extra group can be brought to deployment readiness within 90 days. But here's where it gets really impressive. The Fleet Response Plan actually enables the Navy to push 6 complete carrier strike groups into action within a 30-day window, with a 7th group standing by at the 90-day mark. Just pause and consider what that means. We're looking at potentially more than 50,000 sailors and Marines, hundreds of cutting-edge combat aircraft, and sufficient naval striking power to dominate vast stretches of ocean, all assembled and deployed faster than most families plan their summer holiday. This framework has been put through its paces in actual crisis situations. When Hamas launched their attacks on Israel on October 7, 2023, the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group received immediate orders to the Eastern Mediterranean, while additional strike groups shifted positions worldwide to cover the strategic vacancies created. Contemporary Nimitz-class aircraft carriers maintain cruising speeds of 35 miles per hour through open waters. That figure might seem underwhelming at first glance until you grasp that we're discussing an 1,100-foot-long floating metropolis tipping the scales at 97,000 tons when fully equipped and manned. Running at top velocity, these carriers can position themselves anywhere within a 700-square-mile radius in merely 30 minutes. Push that timeline to 90 minutes, and you're looking at coverage exceeding 6,000 square miles. When Admiral Lanzillotta mentioned relocating his complete strike group beyond 700 miles within 24 hours, he wasn't simply referencing the carrier itself. He meant the whole battle formation: destroyers, cruisers, resupply vessels, and submarines, all advancing in unison as a single tactical entity. This synchronized movement is absolutely vital because carriers operate as part of a larger battle group, never in isolation. Every strike group comprises at least one Ticonderoga-class cruiser loaded with Tomahawk cruise missiles, several Arleigh Burke-class destroyers fitted with sophisticated radar arrays and missile defense systems, and frequently a nuclear attack submarine prowling below the surface. Support vessels execute what's designated as underway replenishment, transferring fuel reserves, provisions, ordnance, and replacement components while both ships maintain their heading and velocity. Now let's dig into some recent real-world cases that demonstrate exactly how rapidly these deployments materialize in actual crisis scenarios, because the data from 2025 is going to leave you speechless. In March 2025, the USS Carl Vinson strike group got the call to immediately cease operations in the vicinity of South Korea and redirect toward the Middle East to reinforce ongoing operations targeting Houthi militants in Yemen. Defense officials confirmed the passage would require 2 to 3 weeks, traversing roughly 8,000 miles of ocean while staying fully combat capable. What happened with the USS Nimitz strike group proved even more striking. By June 2025, this carrier battle group was conducting operations in the South China Sea when urgent deployment orders came through directing it toward the Middle East. The Nimitz scrapped a scheduled port call in Vietnam and launched what defense officials described as an expedited deployment into Central Command's operational theater. The HMS Prince of Wales delivered an even more stunning demonstration of rapid deployment power. When NATO kicked off its Steadfast Defender 2024 exercise, the Royal Navy's HMS Queen Elizabeth ran into propeller shaft complications and was forced to withdraw. HMS Prince of Wales, which had been undergoing maintenance and typically needed 30 days advance notice before sailing, was rapidly readied and sent out as a substitute in only 8 days. Right now, in July 2025, the U.S. Navy has positioned several strike groups at strategic points across the planet. The USS George Washington runs operations from its permanent forward base in Yokosuka, Japan. The USS Carl Vinson remains active in U.S. Central Command's area. The USS Gerald R. Ford is working alongside Italian Navy partners in the Adriatic Sea. The USS Nimitz maintains its presence in the South China Sea. What transforms American carrier deployment into such a potent instrument isn't merely velocity. It's the strategic distribution that provides our naval forces with unrivaled worldwide access. The United States sustains what defense analysts term forward presence across critical zones worldwide. This ensures there's constantly at least one carrier strike group stationed in the Western Pacific launching from Japan, and usually another positioned in the Middle East or Mediterranean waters. This forward distribution slashes response times dramatically because American forces already sit closer to emerging flashpoints. The forward-stationed USS George Washington, home-based in Yokosuka, Japan, exemplifies this approach perfectly. This carrier and its accompanying strike group can address challenges anywhere across the Western Pacific, South China Sea, or Indian Ocean within days instead of weeks. This deployment approach also enables what the Navy terms presence operations. These aren't actual combat actions, but demonstrations of strength that signal American dedication to partners and discourage potential opponents. When the Carl Vinson strike group made port in Busan, South Korea, during early 2025, it communicated unmistakable intentions about American determination in the area. The adaptability of this framework became crystal clear during recent Middle Eastern crises. With several carrier groups already stationed in or around the theater, the U.S. could sustain uninterrupted presence even while cycling individual vessels through maintenance periods and crew rotation. This extends beyond raw military strength. It's fundamentally about preserving stability across international waterways that facilitate over 90% of worldwide commerce. When these carrier groups monitor shipping corridors through the Red Sea, Strait of Malacca, or Persian Gulf, they're safeguarding the commercial arteries that sustain the planetary economy. The Fleet Response Plan's surge capacity means that during a legitimate crisis, the United States Navy can launch more carrier-based striking power than every other nation's Navy combined. 6 carrier strike groups within 30 days translates to approximately 42,000 sailors and Marines, more than 400 cutting-edge aircraft, and hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles. all deployable quicker than most countries can activate their complete armed forces. During peak tensions with Iran throughout 2025, the Pentagon discreetly arranged 2 carrier strike groups in the Central Command operational zone simultaneously. The USS Carl Vinson and USS Nimitz were both conducting operations in or around the Middle East, delivering an overwhelming convergence of American naval might. The technological breakthroughs enabling these capabilities keep pushing forward. The Navy's latest innovation centers on what they're calling plug-and-play destroyer rotations. This approach allows fresh destroyers and cruisers to link up with an already deployed carrier group without forcing the entire strike group back to port. The USS Gerald R. Ford put this framework to the test when the destroyers USS the Sullivans and USS Delbert D. Black merged with the group during active deployment, permitting the initial escorts to head home for servicing while the carrier stayed operational on station. Contemporary nuclear-powered carriers like the USS Gerald R. Ford class embody the bleeding edge of maritime technology. These vessels operate with several hundred fewer personnel than earlier carriers while hosting more aircraft and sophisticated systems. Smaller crew complements translate to streamlined logistics, accelerated deployment readiness, and diminished supply demands during extended ocean passages. Artificial intelligence and automated platforms are starting to transform naval warfare. Predictive maintenance algorithms can identify equipment issues before they manifest, minimizing the probability of mechanical breakdowns during high-velocity transits. Sophisticated weather routing platforms help strike groups identify the swiftest and most secure routes across enormous oceanic expanses. The advancement of unmanned platforms promises to amplify carrier reach even more dramatically. The Navy is testing drone-based aerial refueling, reconnaissance, and even strike aircraft capable of operating from carrier flight decks. Supply chain breakthroughs continue shrinking the logistical challenges of extended-range deployments. Advanced composite materials decrease the mass and bulk of replacement parts, while additive manufacturing technology enables vessels to fabricate substitute components during operations. From the USS Carl Vinson's lightning-fast repositioning from the Pacific to the Middle East in 2025, to the HMS Prince of Wales being prepared for crisis deployment in merely 8 days. These instances demonstrate that naval rapid response isn't simply theoretical, it's a validated, operational reality. These floating metropolises, each transporting over 7,500 service members and sufficient combat power to match complete air forces, can traverse 700-plus miles daily while sustaining total combat preparedness. The strategic distribution of these assets guarantees that American naval strength can address emergencies or reinforce partners anywhere on the planet quicker than any prospective opponent can respond. When you encounter reports of American carriers executing operations in the South China Sea, Mediterranean, or Red Sea, you're observing the most sophisticated rapid response mechanism ever constructed. The service members operating aboard these platforms embody the finest of American military professionalism. Their commitment to sustaining this remarkable capability guarantees that maritime freedom stays defended globally. The next occasion you learn about a carrier strike group deployment, you'll grasp the exceptional coordination, velocity, and strategic calculation that enables it. These aren't merely vessels crossing the ocean. They're manifestations of American determination and technical dominance that help maintain the planet's maritime corridors open and protected.